Hola. Okay.
So that seems like a really scary and traumatic experience. I mean,
Absolutely.
it would have been nice to be prepped a little more. It would have been nice to be told in advance that other women experience difficulty with this procedure. Some women pass, like, since it's so common to feel this, why wasn't it told in advance? Like, a lot of
Thank you.
women experience it. Bring somebody to drive you home. Bring some, like, you went there
Yes.
alone before you got to work,
Right.
thinking that you can have this, like, oh, minor biopsy procedure, because they made it seem so minor,
Yeah.
thinking that you can do it and then go to work after. This bitch walked into work and I'm like, why are you here? She looked pale as hell. Her boobs were stuffed with I don't know how many ice packs of cotton in there. She looked like she got like a double D implant, and she just looked like the life was taken out of her. I'm like, no, why?
That's how I felt. It literally felt like it was no shit, a traumatic experience. Like there's really no other way to say it. And again, I've spoken to other people who are like, that's how I felt, but like I felt dramatic saying that word. And I feel like that's another thing, you know, as women, is we're meant to be like this strong, you know, you can't say that. You can't tell how bad childbirth really is. Like, why? Give me the nitty-gritty details. I
We can't
want
even say
to
how
know
bad
what
our
I'm about to
period
experience.
cramps are. Like, God
Yeah,
forbid you complain about your period cramps. People are like, don't you get that every month? It's like, yeah, it fucking feels like somebody's stabbing me with the biggest knife you have over and over and over and turning it. And I'm not allowed to complain. Just go to work. It's fine.
exactly. And let's be honest, I got that yesterday too, on top of all of it. So I was like, well, I just got like triple
Oh, you
whammy
got
with,
your period too.
oh my God, on top of
Oh.
everything else. And I'm like, this is not, you know, so that could have also helped with me getting dizzy. Like, I'm also anemic. They don't ask any of those questions. They only ask if you have kidney disease or whatever the case is, history of whatever. You know, thank God I don't, but like, I'm anemic, I'm this, I'm that. If you're putting somebody in a machine like that, you know, that may have claustrophobia, that may have, they don't tell you any of that before you go ahead and do something like this. It's like there's other things that need to be said. So that's really what my issue is. Was
And
that
yeah, go for it.
that
Sorry, I was about to cut you off. I
no,
apologize.
that's okay. The other aspect of it was that I was told that this almost in the same sentence, that there was nothing else that they can do. There was no other way to find this out. This is the only way to do this biopsy. And then she tells me, but the only other way to do this is through surgery. And if you have the surgery done, then you're getting cut open to find out that you have nothing wrong. And I'm like, but why wasn't that given to me as a choice? This is my choice. Let me choose how I want to have this biopsy done. And that's what I feel like got taken away from me, because I'm like I said, I'm the type of person who would rather get put out to have dental work done. If this was going to be explained to me the way it was, and I'd be like, you know what, I'd rather be asleep for this, just because I don't know how I'm going to react because of all these other things that I have that lead up to this. Let me be asleep and I'll wake up and I'll have a little bit of a scar. I'm sure it's not that big of a deal, whatever, because like I said, I'm still getting punctured either way. So let me make my choice on what I want to be done with my body. Like, so in that aspect, I feel like we're not given all of the information, because they would say, well, you would opt out to not do this, and then your health is at risk and we can't do that. Okay, fine. So if I have to have this done and there are two options, let me know those options, and not just say that this one has to be done. And if I can't do it, then what's my next option?
Yeah, but
Have what?
just
Surgery?
playing devil's advocate,
Yep, here
as
we go.
as a medical professional
Yes.
from my previous life, before I became an Eastern medical professional, I do know that sometimes we don't give the patients all of the information because people get scared of like, people are scared of needles, so people get scared of too much information, and they'll kind of get like psych themselves out over something that's not so scary. So like, for example, when we would do modified barium swallows in the hospital, we'd almost have to tell the people, like, it's nothing, it's like an x-ray. And it was like an x-ray, but you kind of like don't want to tell them too much, because you don't want them to be like almost previously psych themselves out with all of their fears, because you know, not everyone has medical background knowledge, and you don't know what they've seen or what they've known or how many horror movies they've seen or whatever it is. And they'll start
Absolutely.
like having the monkey brain of all of these things, and sometimes you don't want to say it. It's just playing devil's advocate, which I understand both sides. They don't want to psych the patient out and
For
have
sure.
all of their like monkey brain going, but you also want consent, like informed consent. And on
Yes.
top of all of this, especially with, you know, an adult person, I mean, like, an adult human. And on top of everything, you're paying for this out of pocket. Insurance did not cover this. So it should technically be you're paying for this. Like I'm paying to get tortured, and
Right.
insurance is not covering unless what? Unless it does come back positive, then maybe you'll cover.
Right. Exactly. It's and it's not even, it's deductibles and all this crap. So I'm having to pay out of pocket now to have these procedures done. And it was one initially, then the next one was thrown at me. So they did both of them at the same time instead of me having to go back, which I understand because knowing what I knew, I was like, probably want to go back for that one. But when it has to be done, it has to be done. And I totally understand that. And I was fine with the sonogram one on the right side. I mean, yeah, it was a little bit traumatic, but that one was handled. The mammogram one, though, I was not expecting what came with that. And that's my only issue, is the fact that I wasn't given, even down to the fact of just maybe bring somebody with you. Like just maybe having somebody else there would have been okay. Maybe having somebody in the room that I trusted and loved to help me, to hold me
Somebody
up, to
to
hold my
drive
hand.
you.
Someone to drive me, someone I could cry to. Because now on top of all this, my cell phone was broken. It's been broken since Saturday. Finally got it fixed. I couldn't even call my husband after. Like I was by myself and like panicked and just, and for someone who is also working through an anxiety disorder, which is why I take my CBD and I do all my preventative stuff. You don't know what people are coming in, what their mental status is. And to have somebody have to go through something like that without giving or having preconceived knowledge of what they're facing, I totally understand that. I mean, this is why I love our conversations, to play the devil's advocate, because you are correct. If you told everybody all the information, they'd be like, yeah, no, I'm good, thanks. So I get that.
Or let their
totally
brain run wild. Like they'll hear it, and then like
especially
their brain
someone
will
with anxiety, they're gonna be like, oh my god, like they're gonna stick I'm having a sword being put in my throat. Like I get it. So I totally understand. But I think that's the bedside manner aspect. We just need to be a little bit more compassionate and empathetic when it comes to people, and not on the other side of, I do this procedure umpteen times a day, you're going to be fine, as opposed to, hey, listen, it's going to be a little weird, a little bit uncomfortable. Why don't you just have somebody come with you, drive, don't maybe take off of work, take the day. It's,
a lot of women have trouble with it.
Yeah, right. A lot. Right. Exactly. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, don't just assume, is pretty much what it comes down to. And this is where I think a lot of people are stepping out of the Western medicine and going into holistic, because it's a very different avenue. It's a different approach. You're kind of given more of the information. You're given, and it's not, I want to say not as invasive with certain things, but there's a different way that it's gone about. And I think that's why a lot of people are looking for an alternative care, just because I think everyone's getting fed up with being a number, with being, a dollar sign, just being,
and a 15-minute time slot. Like with regular doctor's appointments, you kind of have a 15 to 30-minute time slot. You fit into this time slot and that's it. And if you've ever been to a holistic practitioner, sometimes they'll sit with you for 2-3 hours. They really want everything, and they will tell you everything, which is what I like. Like they will, the good and the bad. They'll be like, if you start drinking celery juice, you will have diarrhea for the next 3 days. Like that's not like, well, maybe. They'll really walk you through like the good and the bad. They won't just be like, oh, you're going to feel better after this. This is nothing. It's like, no, the celery juice might be really disgusting for some people. Some people hate it. Some people will have the shits. Some people won't. But you really get like a sit down conversation of everything that will unfold, as opposed to like a 15 to 30-minute like slot that you like are robotically placed into, and they just expect you to know, but then they tell you not to Google. So then it's like, how do you want us to know, like the lame person who doesn't have any medical background, the person that, is a construction worker or a hairdresser or, runs a store. Like you don't know what these procedures look like. And then on top of that, they want you to pay thousands of dollars for this procedure. So you still had to pay thousands of dollars, and
I still would going forward in case of anything. If I choose to opt into the surgery now to get done, I still have to pay for that out of pocket.
So now you have to pay for this procedure you just had, a couple $1,000s, and then you'd have to, God forbid, if you'd have to still pay out of pocket.
If I decide to turn around and go get my left side done, and get this other biopsy surgery aspect of it done, then I have to pay for that out of pocket. Now, I'm sure the surgery is going to be a little bit more than this biopsy, which may be another reason why they say, hey, let's do this biopsy first, the mammogram aspect of it. But now if anything does come back that I have to take care of, then I have to pay that. And this is all through a deductible that's not covered by my insurance. And
when does the insurance actually kick in? Like, what's the point of having insurance if like you're getting like, quote unquote, you might have cancer, you need this, it's your life, like life threatening, you have to have this procedure, and then it doesn't get covered? Like, when does the insurance kick in? Like when you do? Because I know plenty of people who have chemo treatment and they can't get covered and they can't get their full treatment. So it's like, when does insurance really kick in? When it's preventative care? Thank you. We can prevent our own care.
Right. And I think at this point, I think new insurance doesn't cover preventative care. Like if you have a pre-existing condition, then it doesn't mean that you're covered. So it's like,
no,
okay.
But they'll cover like a lot of insurance will do a one annual, what do they call it? Preventative care, like a one annual.
A checkup.
The checkup
You
care.
you go and have a checkup and you don't have to pay, but anything after that, so now this is where it gets crazy. So I've paid for everything so far out of pocket, right? This is wild. I called the insurance company and I gave them the codes. They were kind enough to give me the codes. I mean, like they're rooting for you. They want to help you. So they gave me the codes and she asked me all these questions. And she's like, I'm sorry, it's something you have to pay out of pocket for your deductible. I go, okay. I go, so she goes, well, your deductible, and I'll let everybody know, here I am shy, is $3,000. I go, okay, so how much am I already paid up to my deductible? She goes, 95. I go, $95? Do you know how many sonograms, how many mammograms I've had so far? How many sonograms? Now this I go, I'm only up to $95 when am I? So and this for the year. I go, so
since January.
Yeah. I go, so I have 6 months left to get up to $3,000 and then it just recycles all over again. So what am I paying a monthly fee for insurance for that I can't have anything that needs to be done covered? And this is for preventative care. Even knowing that I have a family history, whatever the case, nothing doesn't make any sense to me.
Family history sometimes gets you in more trouble with insurance.
Right? Like, so it's just mind-boggling to me how this all works. So with holistic care, a lot of it unfortunately isn't uncovered, but I'd rather pay. If that's the case, then I'd rather not have insurance and I'll go pay.
Why isn't it covered? Why isn't, like, there are a few insurances that will cover chiropractor. There's very few that'll cover acupuncture, but like if Western medicine truly wanted us to be well, why isn't yoga covered? Why isn't, like, I don't know, healthy food covered?
Why isn't insulin covered? That blows my mind. You have all these people with diabetes and everything walking out around there that have to pay for their own thing, but it's what's keeping them alive. Why are we paying for what? And this is people may not like me after this, but like
everyone loves you, don't worry.
We're paying for things that at this point we've gone through the testing to know that has to keep us alive. And then we're getting enticed with burgers and fries and $100 gift vouchers to go get a vaccine that we know nothing about. Sorry, just threw that out there. Had to. I just don't understand with certain things. Yes. They're trying to pay us to go get done, but the things that will actually, for your health, to save your life, for your benefit, but the things that we know that will actually save lives, that people do need on a daily basis to keep their lives going, they have to pay for out of pocket.
Yes, but you're also like, that's so
poses a big
that's a whole different podcast. It's a whole other going to jump into that because the truth is, like, diabetes is something that can be quite manageable with diet. And if insurance would fully cover that, like cover the holistic doctor, cover the holistic nutritionist, maybe even cover a portion of their food, and then they won't need the insulin. So,
but they need us to need the insulin.
Dun, 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 dun.
Which is, I'm sorry, didn't get if you had something else to say. Which is also part of the fear-based culture that we live in, is just the fear signals, like, you'll die without this and la la la, but they don't tell you. I'm sure they tell you there's other things that you can do and this, that, and the third, but if you don't have this, you're gonna die. And you're like, oh, I don't want to die. So it's there's just the fear, the lack, mental patterns.
Yes. And we've also survived as a species for, a long, long time. So without these, medications and injections, and diabetes didn't exist that long ago, but then you can argue that there wasn't the proper testing either. I can definitely tell you that morbidly obese obesity did not exist long ago. And I think it's crazy to even think that we live in a country where you can be poor and morbidly obese. It doesn't make sense. How can you be poor and not afford for food and then be morbidly obese? It just shows you that there's something in our food that's making you sick. And if, but I understand you're poor, you can't afford, you're just trying to, I get it. It's just like this catch 22. But it's just proving that there's some sort of issue in the food, but we'll get to that in a future podcast.
It's also the food and the fact that they make healthy food so expensive, and then you have,
or you pay extra for
burgers
organic
on the dollar menu. Like, well, what are you going to do if you can't afford to go buy this healthy food and you're hungry and you need to feed your family? You're going to run through the dollar menu and you don't have, now we're so busy. We're worked to the bone. We don't have time to go food shopping. We don't have time to get home and cook a decent meal for our families, because by the time we get home,
because we're working 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jobs to be
able to afford
gas
and health insurance that pays for nothing. So at the end of the day, we're going through all of this stuff. And so it's just easier to be able to go run to the drive-through and run and just get quick food that's not healthy for you. So it's again, the establishment. Why are we not being helped? And
given all the information, coming back to like fully given all the information. We're fully not taught everything about nutrition and healing herbs and using specific herbs to heal. We're not taught that in school.
No.
We're not taught about food and like balancing your meals and what that means for your body. Like we're not taught, or we're just like taught, like, if you do this, you get a Skittle and that's good. And nobody teaches you that you can do, like, you're not fully informed on everything, that you have the ability and the earth has this ability to do all things. Just getting fully informed on the herbs, on the ability, on your doctors telling you on every single step that could unfold. Like even in my experience, I remember the first MRI I got, it wasn't like given any information. It was kind of like, here's your referral. It was a piece of paper given, you're going to get an MRI and it will let us see what's going on. I believe it was, the first one was my pelvic region. I believe my kidneys, because remember those UTIs. And I remember just giving the referral, and I've been to like tons of doctor's appointments and blood work at that point. So and I do have background, but I never had an MRI. So it's kind of like, I know what it is. You're going to go into a machine. It's going to take pictures of your insides. Got it. So you come with this paper. They make you drink some nasty shit, some barium, so that you light up from the inside. So when I got to my first MRI, I kind of knew what sort of to expect. So you kind of go into this machine, and it's this big, giant, circle machine. They lay you down. They put, what is that called? The lead vest thing over your chest. Over your thyroid, and then you start thinking like, oh, why are they putting it here and like not my special area? Because that's the one they need pictures for. But you start thinking like, oh, they don't want it radiating. You start like, your brain starts going, which I get it. There's the monkey mind.
Like
I get it.
The dentist chair, when you sit and then they throw that thing over you and you're like, like stuck on the chair. You're like, why do I need all this just to get an X-ray?
And they run out as fast as they can. It's like, holy shit. Yes. And then they slide you into this machine. They leave the room. They're talking to you from the inside of this machine. It's like dark in there and there's no space. You're like sucked in. So like you can't move your face. Your face is held like by this machine forward. And even if you were to move your face, you just hit it to the side of the machine anyway. And you're just like in this dark tunnel where all you can see is your feet forward, but you can't look anywhere. And then they say, now it's about to begin. And I'm like, okay, well, look, stay still, stay as still as possible. Now it's about to begin. And they said it's going to get kind of loud. And they put like cotton earplugs into your ears. And they're like, oh, it'll get loud. I don't know why nobody thinks to like put headphones, like you said. Like, why doesn't anybody think to like get like, Do they?
in certain closed MRIs. I've been in both situations in the beginning when they didn't, but now they actually put it and they'll tune it like, oh, what station do you want to listen to? And I'm like, anything to drown the noise out. So they'll throw, but you still hear. It's not
You
like
still hear that.
yeah.
That's exactly. It sounds like a tractor is running you over.
Yeah, it is horrifying,
And then
especially if you're not prepared for it.
Especially if you're not prepared. And then the machine starts talking, not even a person, the machine starts talking to, and it's like, inhale, hold your breath. And then like you're holding for like what feels like forever. And you're like, did the machine forget about me? And then you exhale, and then like the person comes on. Why did you exhale? Like,
Yeah.
the machine didn't tell you. So like, how long do you think I can freaking hold my breath under here? So it's like, let's try it again. Machine goes, inhale, hold your breath. And you're holding, and you're holding. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to like freaking explode or pee my pants. Like do something. Finally, but nobody like fully walks you through that, like what you're gonna feel, or that you have to go in with a full bladder, and that you have to hold it, and you have to fill your air up, that this noise is happening, that you could be in there for 20 minutes, you could be in there for 30 minutes. Just like walk me through it before, so that I'm not learning during that. Then obviously when I got my second, third, fourth, sixth, 100th MRI, I kind of like knew what to expect, and it wasn't scary. But I remember the first one was like scary. I didn't know what to expect. And you kind of leave there thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Like I just went into like the scariest machine ever. Not that the machine was going to kill you, but like, if I'm going into this machine, that means they're going to die, because it's like that serious looking a machine.
Wrong. Yeah. It's like, I don't understand, especially after all the tests and everything that you have done. And then now you're in this machine. You're like, oh my God, there really must be something wrong with me. Like it's,
or they're sending me into space in this machine. I don't know.
And you understand why a lot of people now, because of that experience, there's a lot of people who refuse to have these done again for things that they actually need help for. So it's almost like yes, you can scare somebody by giving too much information, but by traumatizing somebody, you're not going to get them back, and they need help.
Yes.
So we need to figure out a balance. Like there has to be something that we can do to just at least help coax people, or help them through this. I mean, now for that, there's open MRIs, but even still, those aren't open. They're not just because the back of it's open, you're still not through it. Like there's just, and now I think they put like pictures. Like you can stare at a picture on the thing on the ceiling on the top or something. It's like,
at least it's something. At least it's something. At least we're moving towards it. So just like informed conversations is what needs to happen. Like more than this 15-30 minute time slot. Take the time to explain to the person everything that can happen, anything you can feel, and just let them know that like, we're here, you're safe. Let us know if you need anything. It's just kind of scary when you don't know what you're walking into. Plus you're going in with obviously issues. So you have that fear prior.
Absolutely. And like, you got to treat people sometimes with kid gloves. Like it's just, imagine a child going in there. You're not going to be like, go in, it's fine. Like, you're going to be like, listen, like, you're going to get down on their level and have a conversation with them. If we're here, you're okay. And that goes back to inner child. Like some people are just scared of the dark, just from the dark. And now you're putting them in a hole and like all these crazy noises. Like you don't realize what that, again, that word PTSD is a little bit of a trigger, but what traumas they've been through in their life. And you're going to put them in a situation like this, that's going to bring up everything back to them. Like, this is why if people were more in touch with their inner child, they'd be open and be like, listen, I have claustrophobia, I'm a little scared, and that, like, their vulnerabilities would come out a little bit more in that doctor's appointment. Be like, can you please help me? And if we had the compassionate end of the professional going, absolutely, let's walk you through this.
Let's see our options. Let's talk you through it.
A lot of people are not vulnerable like that. They're not going to divulge all their information. So I think it needs to be done as a preventative of, hey, listen, this is what it's going to look like. I need you to voice your concerns to me. Let me know if everything's going to be okay, blah, 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 blah. Here's your other options.
Yes.
If you'd be more comfortable with doing something. Like I've had a biopsy before where they had to go through I had a parasitic abscess, and they had to go through, my stomach to get the biopsy through a CAT scan. And I've never had a biopsy. Like I said, I've had biopsies before, so I wasn't thinking nothing about this one yesterday. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. That's fine. I'll go back to work. And that one, he's like, listen, we're going to give you some liquid Xanax and some really good stuff. Like, you're not going to feel anything. We're going to put some local, anesthesia on you. You're going to be awake, but you're going to be fine. It's going to be good. We're here. We're going to put your headphones on. You can listen to music, la da da da. Like, we're going to strap you down to a table, but like, I'm like, okay, but at least I was able. And once they gave me the liquid Xanax, I was like, oh, that's fine. That's whatever. Let's do this. Like, there really wasn't anything to it. But, he was telling me, like, I have really bad anxiety. And that's when he explained, oh, we're going to do all this other stuff. And I've learned through my process to tell people. I even learned to tell the dentist and I'll keep going back to the dentist because a lot of people don't like doing that. Why? They don't like the needle for the Novocaine. They don't like the drill sounds that they have in their mouth, especially you can't feel it, but you hear it, you see it, all your other senses are going. So I tell the doctor, like, I have when it comes to these things, my anxiety gets off the charts. I think it way too much before I'm in the chair. I hear the noises. Once the noises come, I'm like flipping out. It's because it's that traumatic experience of something, and it happened when I was younger. That's the inner child thing, where I've had a bad experience, and from then on, I'm like, never going to the doctor again. Like, no thanks. When we know that's not necessarily the best case scenario either. So it's just we need to approach with love. I don't think there's any other way to say it.
The way
We have
you'd
to
want
combat
somebody
the
to
fear with love.
approach,
Yeah.
the way you'd want somebody to approach your children.
Yeah.
Approach me like you want somebody to approach your children and explain it to them, because it's scary. So I think you're right. We need to kind of, I'm hoping that we're in the process of shifting the universe into a way where Western medicine and Eastern medicine kind of collide, and we take the time to really get to know the patients and make sure that we create the best health plan and comfort for them, as opposed to like this robotic, like sending an iPhone in. Put your iPhone into the machine, give it to the Genius Bar. They'll plug it in. They'll stick wires here, and here, maybe a needle in here, and here to like open it up, a screw.
Yeah.
Like, we're kind of treating people like, the Apple Genius Bar, and we're not. We have feelings, we have traumas, we are not a machine. It's not like we're just looking at a boob, or just looking at a kidney, or just looking at a liver. We are a whole working person where it's all intertwined. We're not a machine that's each item is not related. Each organ is related to the other, and we have to look at the person as a whole, what their history is, what their feelings are, how they even got to having these symptoms to begin with, so that you can truly create a full healing plan, as opposed to just sticking a needle in, finding out if something's wrong, and then sending you on your way.
Right.
Which
Absolutely.
is what we'll cover in our following podcast. So
Yeah.
stay tuned for next week. We'll go into our next podcast will be about mental patterns and the physical symptoms that can manifest from these mental patterns. So there's a reason why Tara has these abscesses, and she's prone to these abscesses in her chest area and in her feminine area.
Yeah. And my liver, like, that's where the other one, it's definitely, it does. So they're there, and they are tangible, but what else has created them? So I think that's a good place to sign off.
Yeah, but let's just take a moment to say thank you to our doctors.
Oh,
we are very grateful to our doctors and our nurses and all of the medical professionals, as we're grateful to all of the holistic practitioners, the doctors, the Reiki masters, the acupuncturists, chiropractors, all of it. It's just, we're looking for a balance, a way to balance the two worlds, where we're not treated like items, where we're truly treated like people, and we can create ultimate healing, where we're not just like adding pills or adding surgeries, where we can truly get underneath and heal.
Absolutely. A more well-rounded system. Because if they ever hear this, I would like to thank, the nurse and the doctor yesterday. They were very, very kind. And although it really wasn't them, it wasn't much that, that they had done that was the problem. If anything, they tried to help me through the situation. It was just the situation in itself. But this isn't a ploy to say, don't go to doctors, don't go get the help you need. It's just, we need a little bit more support behind all that. But yes, thank you so much for all the doctors and nurses for all of their hard work and dedication and the things that they do to try and help us on a daily basis.
Because there are superheroes. We just want a
For sure.
balance. We do want a balance, and so that everyone can truly heal and
Yes,
get the true medicine that they need, which is a perfect
absolutely.
segue into our aura medicine. So we're going to go into just a quick little, I want to say 2-second breath meditation. 2-minute, I want to say, not 2-second. So wherever you are, in your car, in your house, in your bathroom, in your bathtub, taking us to the sexy place. Just sit up comfortably if you can. I want you to roll your shoulders back nice and tall. I want you to roll your shoulders as far away from your ears as you can. And then place your hands facing upwards. And if you can, place your tip of your fingers to meet your thumb, making like an O with your fingers. And start to close your eyes. Relax the space between the eyebrows. Unclench your jaw. Part your lips slightly. Release your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Let it rest at the base. And I want you to inhale a big, deep inhale through the nose, filling the belly, allowing the belly to rise to its maximum capacity. And then exhale with an ah, letting the belly fall and drop. One more breath in through the nose, allowing the belly to rise, big belly, as far expansion as you can, holding it as if your belly button's going to pop right out because you're holding so much air. And then slowly allow it to deflate as the air escapes your mouth. And I just want you to take a moment to scan everything or just a few things in your life that you could be grateful for today. So if you're in your car, let's send gratitude to your car for turning on today, for getting you to and from home safely, to all 4 tires and the steering wheel and the gas, and the safety of the roads. If you're in your home, take a moment to send gratitude to your home, to the loved ones in your home, your family, your fur babies. And take a moment to send gratitude to your body. Acknowledge any sensations you may be feeling. Don't ignore them, give them their attention. And take a moment to send it love. Send your body gratitude for waking up today, for allowing you to experience today, because it's reminding you that your purpose here on earth is grand. And there's so much greatness that awaits you ahead. So taking a deep breath to release any stagnant energy, filling up the body with clean, fresh oxygen. Exhale through the nose, allowing any tension to be released. And across your mind, I just want you to see the words, I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. And I'll end this with an Om. Inhale through the nose. Om. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Namaste, and thank you for joining us for another amazing episode. I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're not too mad at us. We love you, and we'll see you at the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.